Howdy guys, just thought I'd do a long-term review on the pole, the Evolink 158. Been running it since the start of February this year, so had a good sort of 8 months or so on it, which has been awesome. And yeah, just wanted to take you through, I guess, a bit of the long-term review of a few of the components that I chose and how the bike itself performed and how I found the bike as well. So yeah, hopefully this is useful for you and for anyone else out there that's wanting to look into a pole. Let's get stuck into it. So first up, just talking about the forks. So as you can see on here, got the Lyric, and it's an RCT with the low speed compression. So in terms of the fork, I've had a bit of a play around with it recently. Used to be running about 105 PSI and no tokens, and now I've got back to about 95 PSI. I found a bit of a sweet spot and ended up putting 2 tokens in it, and really found that was awesome to help with the small bump compliance. So much more sensitive over those small bumps, and then had really good mid support still, and then just that bottom out resistance from the couple of tokens. So of course I got the debonair air spring on the other side as well, so it was an upgrade that I did from the start. Then in terms of the brakes, so code RSCs. So again, really impressed with these. Did have a little bit of an issue with the rear one. I thought it was the dreaded piston issue, to be honest. Like, has often happened in the guides, and I was prepared to get that all sorted, and it would have been a warranty job and stuff, but I gave them a bleed. Heap of black stuff come out of it. And then once that bleed was done, they ended up being perfect again. So I reckon maybe it was just a case, I'll just have a come over to the front one here. I'm wondering if something might have even just got into there. So whether it be some mud or whatever it is, maybe causing the piston to just get a little bit on the sticky side. So, but yeah, like I said, been no issues at all. Love the contact point adjustment. The one thing that's interesting with the contact point adjustment, as you can see here, it's got the arrow going that way. To actually bring the contact point in, you have to scroll it down that way there. So you have to turn it this way to bring the contact closer to the pads, and that way to bring the contact point further away from the pads. So something that I found a little bit odd, to be honest, but anyway. Bar and stem combo, can't fault it so far, been brilliant. So the Horizon bars with the nuke proof stem looks cool, still nice white sort of anodized look to it. Perfect reach wise, and really love the height of the bars as well. So as you can see there, if you got a bit of a side on, oh yeah, you can see the other issue I'm going to talk about in a second as well. Side on view, that sort of 38mm rise I think it is on here. So changed the grips not that long ago to the Ergon GA2s, and they're a fat grip, so a bit better for bigger hands and stuff. But the only thing with it is they have end caps which just come straight out. So it's like a typical end cap on there, a bit like your XC type thing, and it within one ride it had fallen out, and the other one I managed to catch that one on this side, and it was getting quite loose as well, and just bunged it in with just a tiny bit of tape just to help keep it in spot, just so it's not too loose and doesn't fall out. So I've just ripped up my old grip and put it in there, but I've got to get another end plug for that. Don't really want to get apple cord. So McCain Creek headset, again, love it. Opened it up the other day after winter just to do a regular service with it, and it ended up being really good, nice and clean. Bearings are still running pristine. I know a lot of people after that, the last race we had here at Fox Creek, had a lot of bearing issues with headset especially, to the point where they had to get them replaced because they were seized. This was running perfectly with still heaps of grease in there, which I'm glad I chocked it full of grease when I first put it together. In terms of the saddle, it's had a long life and it's starting to get a little bit creaky. I don't know, I kind of hear it there, and I've been able to hear it in a few of the videos that I've done lately as well. It's still super comfy, but just gets a bit annoying when you're doing some long climbs, I guess. But yeah, one of those things. Dropper, bike yoke revive, still running really well. Just got to keep it clean, basically. That's about it. Been really impressed with it though. Had a service, easy to service, parts are cheap when you've got to replace the pins. Had a little bit of sideways movement. Again, both of these things have come off my old bike, so I kind of expected that. They're a couple of years old or so now. In terms of moving down a bit further, so the bottom bracket side of things, so if we go down here, you might be able to see it. So it's a threaded bottom bracket, makes it super easy to clean, thankfully. Again, really happy with it. Chock full of grease. Have had to tighten it a couple of times though. I can't remember which side, but I just heard a very slight creaking. Took it apart, which is a really easy job, maybe 10-15 minutes or so, and just chocked it full of grease again. Bash guide, so the bash guide I've got on here, and as you can see, looking at the bottom of it, maybe be able to see it. You can see it's copped a couple of whacks in there, so it's certainly done its job. And again, I've been happy with it so far. Moving on to the drivetrain, so again, really happy with the GX so far, all things considered anyway. In terms of how it's all gone, GX wise, the chain ring has been great. It is on its second chain, but in terms of chain wear, it's definitely the best chain that I've had so far in terms of chain wear. Longest chain wear I've got out of any GX so far, so that's good. Derailleur wise, I am on the second derailleur. I copped a little bit of a whack in it a couple of months or so ago, and probably still be okay to run, but just preferred to get a new one to get that crisp shifting back after 6 months or so. And then have the other one as a spare if this one really gets broken badly. Does need regular tweaks though. I find that I have to get the hanger tool on it quite often to keep it shifting nicely. Then the wheels, so front wise has been absolutely flawless. So the Stans Flow Mark III, absolutely flawless, still really well even. So give it a go here, as you can see there, nicely even. In terms of the rear though, as I think I mentioned last time when I was doing the midway review, it's had a little bit of a life, so it finally gave up the ghost, the rear wheel, a couple of weeks ago, and I've just had this EX511 built up by Chris at Whippets. Again, does an awesome job with that sort of stuff. So first ride on it yesterday, so it felt exactly the same as the Flow in terms of stiffness and that sort of stuff. Hopefully it lasts a lot longer. I do have a nuke proof ARD in the back now as well, just to protect that rim, so hopefully that does its job as well. But yeah, really happy with that. Tyres, this Michelin Wild Enduro front I've had on for the best part of probably 4 or 5 months now, I reckon, and wear's not too bad on it. If I do this, there's one knob that's starting to get a little bit torn off. Here we go. So this one here, where it's starting to tear a little bit, but apart from that, it's pretty even wear, and the grip on it is just insane. So I reckon it's going to be hard to go past this, although as you might have seen, I do have an Assegai and a Magic Mary to test out as well further down the track, and I've only just put this rear on it. I'd say it's going to be more of a dryish mixed type terrain tyre. The DHF you can't beat for the wet conditions on the rear in a dual compound, although I do think it'll probably wear pretty quickly as well. It's only a few rides old and already we start to got a bit of wear on that. But yeah, what do you expect with a rear that's quite soft, I guess. And then I'll definitely go back to the Aggressor for summer. Pretty happy with Maxxis rear tyre with a dual compound. It tends to work pretty well, I find. These things, though, the side knobs on them for off-camber type conditions is just, yeah, you can't beat it really, I've found. So the frame, the Evolink 158 itself, really solid. Extremely happy with the Geo, especially in the fast and steep terrain. It's been really, really good. It allows for central riding as well, I've found. So for a bigger bloke, even if it's steep, just gives you so much more grip and confidence in cornering. Something where, I'll just pop the camera down again, something that I've really struggled with in the past, I guess, has been able to stick sort of central on a bike. I'll tend to get a long way back, so in the past on the trance and stuff I've been sort of hanging over the back here a lot, and that's still with even pressure on the front, but having that longer reach has allowed me to get a lot more central, and then just that much extra grip in terms of cornering and even climbing and stuff as well. Overall, like, riding it has just improved in confidence and those sorts of things so much more as well. So yeah, I've been really happy with it so far. I'll just pick the camera up again. So the other thing I've found that it really has helped me with confidence wise is jumping. I'm not much of a jumper, but I've found on this that it's very forgiving if you don't have perfect jumping technique, but has helped to improve my confidence in jumping a lot as well. In terms of the frame itself as well, just in terms of setup, it does like to have minimal low speed compression and low speed rebound as well. I think it's just got something to do with the progressive nature of the curve as well. And then lastly, just touching on the rear shock. So as you can see here, I've got a Cane Creek on here now. So this is the Cane Creek double barrel inline, and it's got the climb switch on the front there as well. So climb switch, that's it open, and that's the climb switch closed. Bit different to most climb switches, it adjusts the compression and the rebound damping, which is interesting. A lot of them just change the compression, so it does make it climb quite nicely, I've found. The RockShox Monarch Plus gave up the ghost in about June, so about 4 months ago or so. The low speed compression lever basically got to the point where it did nothing and was really harsh, clunky with the compression as well. So about 10 or 15% through. So sent it back, thanks to Whippets for helping me out there. They processed the warranty with it, and I ended up getting a brand new shock as well. So I'll definitely pop it back on, but at this stage I'm happy running this coil shock. Initially it took a while to set up just because there's so many different adjustments. So again, if I come around to the front here, you can see it's got on this side here high speed compression, low speed compression, low speed rebounds, the small one, and then high speed rebounds on there. So lots of different things to set up. Do your research before you set these things up, because it's a minefield if you don't know what you're doing. Even with that, it took quite a while, as I was saying before. As you can see here, this is a 550 spring. So started with this 550, tried a 600. 600 felt really good, was sitting nice and stout, but just got overwhelmed in the really rough stuff. So decided to go back to the 550 only a few weeks ago, and yeah, it's definitely the mark, the 550. Even though you get the occasional bottom out, maybe a little bit more than air, it's just, yeah, so much more supple over those small bumps, and just absolutely plows. Has good mid support as well, I find, and reasonable bottom out. I mean, it is going to be a lot more linear than an air shock, you understand that. And yeah, overall I've found the coil a lot better for a heavier rider. It's not as harsh. You can make it poppy, but you can also make it yeah, a lot more stable through the rough stuff, which is good. In terms of settings, I've got a couple turns of preload, high speed rebound, again over this side, 3 turns, 7 turns of low speed rebound, and then back over to the compression side I've got 2 turns of high speed compression and then 4 clicks of low speed compression. So I've found that to be pretty good at the moment. So just in terms of the bike, just pop the camera back down again. So in terms of overall with it, absolutely so happy with it. It's just amazing. Yeah, everything that I could have wished for in a bike, from an enduro perspective. So Pole have done a brilliant job with these things here. Obviously they've got the machine and the stamina out now as well, which if they're better than this is a bit scary to think, but again, the only thing, like as it is, as you see it here, it's about 17 kilos, so it's on the heavier side, but I mean, it's an extra large frame with double down DH casing tyres and a rim insert and a coil shock. So I mean, if you're expecting less than 16 kilos for that, you're probably not going to find it. But yeah, just the confidence that it's given me, enjoyment and progression in terms of riding so far has just been unbelievable. So can't wait to see what the future holds on it, and yeah, I'll check back along the way and give you a few more updates as we go. Cheers.